Well, I'm on the last leg of my trip. Made full circle back here to Cheehaw Mountain, where we're gonna stay the night and head back home tomorrow. I just stopped here. I've been doing some exploring around the park and Talladega National Forest and some waterfalls, and I want to show you on the map where we've been. All right, so day one, we left home and came to Cheehaw Mountain, stayed the night. We made our way all the way to Dahlonega, Georgia, stayed the night, the second night. Made our way up through Six Gap, all the way around, went up to Moonshiner 28, tried to go to the Blue Ridge Parkway. There was fires, so we got rerouted. Came back to the Moonshiner 28, all the way up around. Foothills Parkway was closed because of wildfires, so went up Happy Trails back way, all the way up to Townsend. Got to go through the tail of the dragon. That was really cool. Let's wait for this vehicle to go by. Stay the night, third night in Townsend. Bad storms, high winds, rain. So we were planning on going to the tail of the dragon after Townsend. Couldn't go back. We tried to go back through the Blue Ridge Parkway, couldn't do it. Part of the Foothills Parkway was still closed because of fires. Did get to go on part of it. Came back down through the tail of the dragon. Now that was interesting. After rain, wet roads, fallen trees and debris, fun, fun, fun. Then came back down the Cherilora Skyway. What an amazing ride. There's another car, let him pass. This was absolutely amazing. Then made our way back down to Ellijay, Georgia for the fourth night. This morning we got up, came through this nice place, Fort Mountain State Park area, then just made our way all the way back down to where we are now, Cheehaw Mountain. On night 5, we're gonna stay there tonight. We're gonna get up in the morning, head back home. It has been a great trip. I bought a microphone to hook to my helmet, but didn't get that installed before this trip. So just put a GoPro on my helmet for the trip. So I'm gonna sit down here while I'm taking a break, maybe give you a little bit of commentary of what happened. So when you watch the footage, you can kind of know some things, and some things that I didn't have my GoPro on and I wish I would have. Well, day one was pretty much business as usual. Since we left home, we Just drove back roads, stayed off the interstate until we got to Talladega National Forest. That's when it really started getting nice. Then we got on Cheehaw Road. Wow. Twisties up and down through the mountains. It was absolutely gorgeous. Came to Cheehaw Mountain, got our rooms, went on Bald Rock, went a little trail up to that outlook. That was a really cool experience. Had a great sunset that night. Let's see, we woke up the next day and headed to Georgia. We were going through backwoods. I bought this Butler motorcycle maps after Cindy decided she was going to go to Disney with her mom, and we're empty nesters now. I said, you know, I don't want to just sit at the house. So I got that map and just routed out all of the highlighted roads. It was a great time. But we were making slow progress on day 2. A lot of the back roads, speed limits were low, and ups and downs and twisties and that kind of thing. So we had to reroute, bypass some stuff that I really wished we could have seen. But hey, that's part of it. That's one of the lessons that I've learned on this trip. Learned a lot of lessons, learned a lot about myself. But we rerouted, but even the roads that were rerouted were just amazing roads, and stayed at a vineyard. That was a really cool experience. We went to go to a steakhouse, and it was closed. So we had to eat backpacker meals that night. Not too bad. Got up the next morning, and that's when we were gonna head to Townsend, Blue Ridge Parkway. Had to reroute because of that. But the great thing was we ended up going through the Tail of the Dragon a day early. That was so much fun. I think it's what, 319 turns in 11 miles. Wow. There's a tree there at the beginning. I don't know if it's the beginning or the end. It's called the Tree of Shame. Pretty sad. People have wrecked and got parts and stuff all over it, but there's been some people who have lost their lives, and so I was grateful that John and I made it through there safe. But it was a lot of fun. Then we got rerouted again. Story of this week, lesson of this week. I'm a recovering type A control freak. I had everything planned out just the way that I wanted it, and it didn't go that way. But the good news is, and the lesson is, the way that it did end up going, I'm assuming was just as good. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was great. Back roads, backwoods, twisties, turns, up and downs through the mountains. Let's wait until this car passes. Actually, it's not a car, it's a camper. They're doing their thing too. So yeah, after the Tail of the Dragon, we finally made it into Townsend because we got rerouted, went up into the mountains, and a road was closed, gated off. GPS took us there, but they had just closed it because of wildfires that were just north of Townsend where we were going. Got to Townsend around, I don't know, 7:30, 8 o'clock. Got our room, ditched some of our stuff, went to a steakhouse, walked in the door, and she said, "I'm sorry, we're closed." We closed at 8 o'clock. I said, "Well, what time is it?" She said, "It's 8:06. I'm thinking, you're kidding me. So we ended up going to a little grocery store, buying some stuff to eat with backpacker meals. But an interesting thing happened that morning. Before we left the vineyard, I'm laying in my room, waking up, still dark outside. There's a little tree outside my window, and it's full of birds. Hold on. And all these birds in this tree are singing their heart out. And about that time, I just felt like the Lord said, they don't even know what today is going to bring. It's still dark outside. I mean, some of those little guys, this is going to sound morbid, a hawk could get them, a cat could get them, who knows? But they're singing. And if they can get up every morning and sing, why don't I? Boy, it's become a busy street since I've decided to talk to you guys. So it got me thinking. That was my thought throughout the whole day. We got to Townsend, stormed all night, wind was blowing, got up, it was sprinkling a little bit outside. And right outside my window, another tree, more birds. Yep, you guessed it, singing. It'd been storming all night long, raining at the moment, and they're singing. And once again, it's like I heard that still small voice say, they know what today's bringing, and yet they're singing. So that's kind of been part of my thinking on this trip. I'm learning things about myself. I have a tendency to wait and see how the day goes. I'm like the children of Israel and Miriam. After they cross the waters, then they dance and sing. Why not dance and sing on this side? God's promised to work everything for good. So I've got to learn to start singing, even before the day begins and no matter what's happening in the day. And all this rerouting that I had to do through this whole trip, my GPS, I couldn't use it because my USB port on my motorcycle, I don't know, it's glitching, it comes in, comes out. So I had to use my phone. We're up in the mountains, and wow, it was just rerouting, recalculating, rerouting. I was getting frustrated. I have to admit, several times I'm having the trip of my life. I'm in the middle of the mountains. I'm riding on my motorcycle, and here I am frustrated from time to time. And once again, that still small voice. Rerouting is a part of life. I need to learn to go with the flow. I need to sing no matter what the day brings. So some life lessons I'll pass on to you. There's some other things personally that I learned about myself. And let's see, what's some other stories? Oh, well, when we were going up to the tail of the dragon the second day, it had been raining, storming, there's debris everywhere, the roads are slick as snot. We come around this tight hairpin going up and just barely making it up. First gear, John stalls. He's got a death grip on that bike and he's giving the throttle all he can. And that back tire is just spinning, spinning, spinning. I'm up ahead of him. There's nothing I can do. Finally, he gets some traction, but boy, that was a nerve-wracking experience. Now, I had a similar experience. We're making our way to LJ yesterday, coming around these twisties, country back roads. I come around a corner and there's an 18-wheeler taking up half or more of my lane. And he is steady taking up more. And I just make it by. I'm not saying I touched the trailer or anything, but it was touch and go there for a minute. People say, oh, you don't need to be on a bike, it's dangerous. That was one time in my life that I'm glad I wasn't in a car. Because if I would have been in a car, I don't know what would have happened. It was only because I was on my bike I was able to go by. I want to tell you one more story before I head back to the room. We're making up our way to Chiralora Skyway, and this guy's coming the opposite way. And he's coming back by. He's on some kind of sport bike, and he stops us, he waves us down. He says, hey guys, there's a big tree across the road. You can't make it. I'm like, well, I'm gonna ride up there and see. We make a few more turns, come up to this tree, and it's kind of slanted across the road, but there's a little needle, thread of a needle that you go off the road in a ditch. And I'm thinking, I'm in a dual sport. I'm not on a sport bike. Watch this. We thread the needle, go down in the ditch, come back up. There's a line of cars that are stopped on the other side, coming the opposite way, but we made it and kept going. I didn't have any of that recorded. That's just that's a few of the things that happened. Like I said, can't give you blow-by-blow commentary because didn't have a mic at the moment. Maybe the next time. But this has been great. I don't think, hey, that's my wife. She had a flight that's canceled, so hold on just a moment. All right, just got off the phone with my wife, and it looks like I'm not the only one learning the lesson of rerouting. Her and her mom's flight got canceled, so they're gonna rent a car, drive halfway home, stay the night, and drive in tomorrow, so we'll both be getting back home at the same time. They were planning on getting there today. So yeah, I think, like I said, I've learned a lot about myself on this trip. Loved traveling with a motorcycle. I want to do more of it. Definitely, I bought 2 other Butler maps, one for Texas and one for the Ozarks. So my lady that cuts my hair told me about the Natchez Trace, so maybe that's on the horizon. Lord willing, we'll see. I want to start doing some moto camping. But wow, the KLR that I call Donkey, the Donkey Whisperer. Wow, did absolutely great. Some of the places that me and Donkey have been. All my luggage is back at the room. Just got a little backpack. I've been exploring some trails and waterfalls here. But yeah, the bike did fantastic. At the waterfall, I dropped my helmet and cracked this little piece right here. I'm assuming I can get replacements, but that was another aggravating thing. But see, these are lessons. They're everywhere. Life's about learning, and I've been learning a lot.